Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Liaquat, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about Eid. So Salat al-Eid, especially when it comes to COVID-19 situation, what happens. So from the Hanafi point of view, I'm going to explain to you guys how basically Salat al-Eid is basically seen. So first of all, when it comes to Salat al-Eid, the Eid prayer, can you pray at home? That's the main sort of question that lots of people are asking. Can you pray Salat al-Eid at home? In this video, I'm going to be explaining to you guys if you can pray Eid at home according to the Hanafi position. So according to the Hanafi scholars, there are two prayers which are considered to be public prayers. Okay, public prayers. What are those two prayers? Those are the Friday prayer, the Jum'ah, and those are the Eid prayers. Right, so Eid occurs twice in the year. You have, Eid al-Fitr, and you have Eid al-Adha, Fitr, which is the day after Ramadan, and Adha, which is Hajj. Right, Adha is the one we call the Baqarah Eid. So these are two public events. Now, Hanafis say that in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, the Eid Salats that took place, so Eid Salats really started when the Prophet ﷺ went to Medina. So imagine this was his life. It was like, I don't know, at this era over here. This is where we see the Friday prayers and the Eid prayers. So Friday and Eid prayers, this is where you kind of like see it in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. And the Friday and Eid prayer, Friday prayer was prayed in the masjid, right? So the mosque, so imagine this is Masjid Nabawi. Right, this is not really a true illustration of it, but you get the idea. So the people used to go to the masjid and, people just prayed the Eid Salat in the masjid. The Friday Salat, not Eid, Friday prayer in the masjid. As for the Eid was actually prayed in what they call the Jabana. Jabana is like a large area outside, like a plain field. Right, so the plain field, or, the open area, it was prayed outside there. So like, you don't pray in the mosque Eid, you pray outdoors. And this was a salat where you had all sorts of people attending. You had the imam would be there, you had the followers praying there, yeah, and you had men and women as well. So the women were also had an area for them to stand in as well. Right, so even those women who were actually not technically praying, right, they actually just attended and sat down, right, attended. So this would be the Eid prayer. You had a big attendance. So the conditions for the Friday prayer and the Eid prayer have always been, the kind of the same really. It's like a large congregation in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. We never find that the Friday prayer is prayed alone in seclusion. It's always prayed in a group. So that's why the Hanafis say that congregation, right, which they call Jama'ah, so congregation, or write down Jama'ah, is essential. It has to be group, because Friday, in fact, the word Friday actually is from the word Jumu'ah, and Jumu'ah, it means group. Like, so the Hanafis say there has to be an Eid prayer. We've never found that the Prophet ﷺ ever encouraged the Sahaba to pray Eid prayer on their own. We don't find this. We find them always praying in a group. And this was something which is, all throughout the life of the Prophet ﷺ. So this is why congregation is key, right? Jama'ah is key. And then the scholars, they differ with regards to how many people can actually pray. Yeah, so the number of people minimum that you need for an Eid. So we don't have anything from the Prophet ﷺ that he says, right, you need this many people. We don't have that. So the scholars, they come out with their own sort of like conclusion based upon the groups. So they say the Sahaba were many would be praying. So we know it's a large number. But the Hanafis, they say, well, look, some of the Hanafis, their position is, well, Imam and two people. Okay, so you got Imam and two people. And others say no, it's actually Imam and three people. So in other words, 4 people altogether. This is the position that majority of Hanafis, they take. Right, so this is the position which is taken by many of the later Hanafis. So like 4 people. So you need to have a minimum of 4 people in the Friday prayer, in the Eid prayer, for the prayer to be valid. Now, this number is not from an explicit hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, because we don't have any sort of specific number for exactly how many minimum people must you have for the Eid prayer to be valid. The second is that it has to be men, right? So the number, right? So we're going to say 4 here. And it has to be men, right? So it's got to be men. In other words, the reason why it's got to be men is because women, so women, children, and others, they don't have to attend Jummah. Jummah is not necessary on them. So they're saying if it's not necessary on them, you can only have a Jummah, the minimum number, who Jummah is necessary upon. Right, so they're like the bare minimum requirement is for those people who have to pray Jummah. So each one of these guys has, the obligation of Jummah is upon them, every one of them. Right, but if you had women there, they don't have to. They can pray if they're there. Alhamdulillah, they can pray, but it's not necessary upon them. So they're saying it wouldn't make up the numbers then. Right, so this number is based upon those people who must pray, who have to pray. So that's why they say you got 4, and then it has to be, men as well, and then you've got like things like recitation has to be done aloud. Yeah, recite aloud. Okay, recitation is allowed, so you read aloud. If you've ever been to a Jummah or Eid prayer, you hear the Imam reciting aloud. So one of the main differences, so you got group, right? That's the same. Number, that's the same. You got like reciting aloud, that's basically the same. What are the differences then now? Let's look at some differences between the Eid and the Jum'ah prayer. Right, so let me use my green pen here. So some differences. So one of the differences is that Eid is Friday prayer. Let's do Friday here, and let's do Eid over here. Right, so some differences. So one of the differences is that Friday prayer is done in the mosque. I mean, it doesn't have to be done in the mosque, but it was done in the mosque time of the Prophet ﷺ, and Eid prayer was done outdoors. Okay, outdoors. That's one difference. All right. Another difference is the Friday prayer is done at Zohar time, right, which is midday, and Eid prayer is done in the morning. It can actually be done from all the way from after sunrise, right? So from after sunrise all the way to midday, right? So imagine like nowadays, sunrise is at let's just say about 5ish. Let's say 5ish, 6ish. Right, let's say 6 o'clock. Right, this is argument say let's say 6 is sunrise, and all the way till let's say 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock is midday. So you got like all this time to pray the Eid. Right, whereas Zuhr, right, the time of Zuhr is like from 1 o'clock to let's say 4 o'clock. Right, so you only got that kind of time there to pray. So that's another difference between the two. Okay, a third difference is that in Friday prayer, you actually do the talk, the khutbah, and then the prayer. And in the Eid prayer, you actually do the prayer, then you do the talk. Yeah, so it's like talk in Friday before and Eid after, right? So it's like when the Imam gets up on the mimbar, right? He stands on the pulpit, and then he gives like, he stands up. I'm trying to draw this. Yeah, and then all the people are sitting there, and he gives a talk. That's the talk I'm talking about, and it's the one that they call the Arabic talk, basically. Anyway, so that's another difference. So this is like the main differences when you come to this particular masala, right? These are the kind of main sort of differences. Right. There's another difference, which I think, let me just fit in here. There is another difference, and that is that if a person does not pray the Friday prayer, right, he prays Dhuhr instead. So Dhuhr is prayed instead of Friday. If a person doesn't pray the Eid prayer, then there's no obligatory prayer. There's no prayer if he doesn't get to do his Eid. So you got up late, you missed your Eid. There's no obligatory prayer in place of it. What the Hanafis have said is that you can pray, this is based on Abdullah bin Mas'ud's statement, that you can pray just some nafal, right? You can pray 4 rakats of nafal, optional prayer, which is like the duha prayer basically, just to kind of like make up, but you don't have to pray that. But dhuhr you must pray. If you don't pray your Jum'ah, you have to pray your dhuhr. So these are like some of the differences. I'm not going to go through all the kind of fiqh rulings and whatnot. I'm just going to mention to you guys the basic sort of things that you need to understand. All right. So I'm going back to this now. Can a person pray Eid at home? So in an easy kind of way, no, you can't pray at home. And the reason being, like we said, is that Eid is supposed to be a public event. And if you're praying at home, everyone's praying at home, it doesn't sort of like fit the criteria that the Hanafis are talking about when it came to how the Sahaba in the time used to pray. Yes, there is a narration of some Sahaba like Anas radiallahu anhu, bringing people together, or not bringing people together, but going home and praying it. He missed Eid and he prayed the Jummah, the Eid at home, right? Yes, some positions of the Sahaba can differ, right? There could be some, but the majority, we don't find them doing this. We don't find narrations of Sahaba missing Jummah or Eid and then going home and then doing their own one. We don't find that. So this is what Abdullah ibn Mas'ud's one, which is what explicit statement, which was basically, you miss your Eid, then there's no Eid, you go home and best to just pray some nafal. Right? So you can't pray at home Eid. If a person does pray at home Eid, based upon the Shafi'i position and other madhabs, they are allowed to pray the Eid at home. Eid can be prayed at home, but that would not be based on the Hanafi position. So if a person was to pray at home, then some of the contemporary scholars at the moment would say that taking the Shafi'i position here to create the mood or enjoyment of Eid, then that is possible, but it wouldn't be based on the Hanafi position. So it's clearly not a Hanafi position on that. What some of the Hanafis have said is that, okay, so let's say, for example, we take what Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, and let's say a person prays 2 rakats at home, right? By the way, Eid Salat and Friday prayer are both, I didn't mention this, but I should have maybe. They are both only 2 rakats, 2 units, right? 2 rakats, that's it. So let's say, for example, someone wanted to kind of have this kind of family sort of atmosphere and want to pray the 2 rakats, but they want to pray in congregation, right? So let's say, for example, dad, is gonna lead, and then everyone else at home is gonna pray. Okay, so would that be allowed or not? This goes into the realm of another issue in the Hanafis, which is that can you have a jama'ah congregation, jama'ah of nafal? Can you have a jama'ah of nafal? So Hanafis have differed with regards to whether this is allowed or not. So the issue is that we don't find in the Prophet ﷺ's time this being a very sort of like common thing that people used to do. So because it was not a common thing that people used to do, Hanafis have said that this idea of what is known as invitation, tada'i, in inviting people to Jama'ah is not allowed, because what you're doing is you're kind of tampering with the concept of divinely revealed prayer. So prayer is a divinely revealed concept. The Prophet ﷺ explained it. So therefore we need to stick to the strict rules that have been already legislated. And we don't have these kind of strict rules associated to nafal. That's why they say it should be avoided. But we do have certain incidents in the time of the Prophet ﷺ where he went to someone's house, like Anas radiallahu anhu's house or someone else's, and he prayed some nafal in their house. So some of the Hanafis say, well, what does invitation mean? So they say it means giving a separate azan. And some of them say, no, what does invitation mean is when you make, you publicize it that you're going to have it and people can come down to your house. And some say, no, it's when there is more than 4 people. Yep. So if there's plus 4 people, then it's invitation and so forth. So there's a kind of difference there. So point being made is that the 2 rakats of Jama'ah Nafal, if a person was to pray on a one-off thing and doesn't make it a habit, then there is scope to do this on the Eid day if a person wishes. So this would be within the Hanafi position. I hope this makes sense. I hope you guys have benefit from this. If you have any sort of Just general questions. I mean, if a person was to do the Eid Salat and the khutbah and everything else, the khutbah, by the way, this talk I mentioned about, the what you call the khutbah, that isn't considered to be a necessary. According to Hanafis, the talk is not necessary, right? In Eid and so likewise in Friday prayer, it's not necessary. If a person was to omit it, the salat would still be done. The Eid salat would be done. So Jazakallah khair. Take it, inshallah. I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair, guys, for all of your support. Without your support, I wouldn't have been able to produce the videos that I've put up on my YouTube channel. And there is so much more that I really want to do. And without the support of you guys who are patrons, generously supporting this channel, I've been able to get myself a camera, which, as you guys can see, the quality of this camera, a mic system, software. I've been able to hire an editor. So what do I want to do? I want to make lots and lots and lots of more videos for beginners, for intermediate, advanced, in the subjects like Arabic and fiqh and hadith and tafsir and aqidah and all those other things as well. And for this to happen, again, this channel needs support. So if you guys want to become patrons and support this channel, then check out the link below. Also, if you do become patrons, you'll have access to videos that I don't put up on my normal YouTube channel. So check that out, inshallah. And there's most other perks as well that you guys can benefit from. And if you want to access this channel through social media, we've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, Facebook page, and other things as well that you can visit. So Jazakumullah khair again, guys. Thank you very much for your support. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair for watching this video. I hope to see all of you guys. If you guys are interested, please leave us feedback, get in contact with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.